Starting up the live.
I think, Portia, we're seeing your Connects team.
Sorry. I had to get the live stream up. Hold on. Okay. All right, it's coming up. Share screen.
I think, Portia, we see the little YouTube thing in the corner, which would suggest that you're casting.
Okay, screen. There you go. All right, screen sharing is being paused. So what do you see now?
I think letting the little YouTube thing in the corner, which would suggest that you're casting.
I just want to make sure you're able to see the slides.
Not yet.
Screen sharing is being paused. Oh boy. Now I'm hearing a overlap here. What do you see now? Nothing?
I think letting the little YouTube thing in the corner, which would suggest that you're casting.
I just want to make sure you're able to see. Oh, I'm hearing like an I'm hearing what
Not
we were
yet.
talking about. Screen sharing is being paused. Oh boy. Now I'm
Portia,
hearing.
you might have the YouTube open, so then you're getting the feed from the YouTube, which has a delay.
I think
Plus
letting
the little YouTube thing in the corner, which would suggest that you're casting.
I just want to make sure you're able to try now. Is it still
Rachel, can you do share screening? That might be easier if Rachel, you.
Yeah.
Sure. Share the slides, right?
Yeah.
All right, hold on, I can do it.
Thank you.
So Safari unknown, but let's see what happens.
Portia, you might need to make Rachel a co-host for her to share her screen.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's on all participants, so it should work now. Rachel.
There we go. I'm ready. Here we go. I have to download something. Hey, can you all see my screen?
You're good.
Slideshow. Now can you see it?
Yes.
Everyone can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so
Go back up to the minutes.
sorry.
Just go back
the
to
minutes, sorry. Yes.
slide 3. And we're gonna have Hassan just call the meeting to order.
So go back to this screen.
Go back to slide 1 is fine.
This is slide 1 and then slide 2.
I don't know if there's a delay or if maybe it's my screen because it doesn't seem like it's moving.
Yeah, it's not. We're on the priorities right now.
Your screen sharing is being paused.
I think it's
Jesus Christ.
Is it the YouTube or is it our internet here? Oh no.
Okay, so if it's the YouTube, we can stop the YouTube and just record the meeting portion, and then we can just download the recording and post the recording live.
Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. Let's see.
Because we can just record the meeting and then we can upload the recording, and if YouTube is the problem, we can bypass that for now.
Okay. I'm just gonna try one more time with the screen so I can screen share and see if that works. And then after that, we'll just record. Okay, what do you see?
We see the screen.
All right, we're rocking.
Okay, we'll try that again. Thank you.
Yes.
So Hassan, you can go ahead and get started and just call the meeting to order.
All right, it's my pleasure. Good morning, everybody, to call this meeting to order.
Good morning.
Go ahead, Portia, next slide. And then next slide.
Oh.
Yep. And then the first order of item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the September meeting. And so is there a motion to approve the September meeting minutes?
I motion that we move.
Thank
To
you. Is
approve
that
the-
Aisha, just so I can
No,
document?
this is Kelly.
Kelly, I'm sorry, Kelly. I'm listening to voices and trying to type, so.
No worries.
Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Sean. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any nays? Okay, that motion passes. And so this board is going to continue with the academic priorities. And so Rachel or Portia, if we move down to the academic priorities slide.
I'm sorry, I think somebody dropped off, so I was just checking.
Yeah, we did lose somebody, but I
Aisha's
think-
probably going to come back on. She was saying
Yeah.
she's en route. So we'll keep
Okay.
an eye.
Oh.
All right. And then Rachel, go ahead and continue with the academic priorities, please.
Okay. Portia, you can go to the next slide.
Okay.
All right, so map. We are always talking about map and map data. So we took map in the fall, and that was our baseline data for where students were and where they're coming to, where they are when they're coming to us. And so what we found that in 3 to 5 in ELA, the achievement was similar to last year, with a notable gap in 4th. 6th through 8th was below with a notable gap in 6th. We are literally hyper focused on 6th grade this year. In math, 3 to 5 above the fall of last year, and then 6 through 8 substantially lower across the grade 6 through 8, not 7th grade, but as much, but 6th grade and 8th grade. Like I said, you heard 6th grade overlaps in both of these reports, and we are hyper focused on 6th grade. We've already changed their schedules, created a plan. They are in labs. Like, we are trying our best and doing our best to make sure that we are meeting the needs of the 6th grade. It is a huge cohort. So with that comes the challenges as well. And also some of the students are new. So we have a plan in place for 6th grade and making sure that they're able to meet their goals for the winter map, which is coming up. So the next time you see me, I will be able to report on how students did from fall to winter, based off the winter map data. You go to the next slide, portion. So for academic outcomes, we talk about this all the time, but I do want to go over some things that we do consistently here so you all can just be in the loop. Our small group instruction, we've moved to a lab model where students are all for 2 hours a day in small groups learning on their grade level, or their learning meets their needs specifically. So what that looks like is an hour a day, they're exposed to grade level content in ELA. The second ELA class, they're in small groups based on their reading level, based on their map data and what they need. We put them in clusters to figure out who needs the same thing. So it's literally targeted intervention every single day in math and ELA. Our Blueprint tutors, they have not started yet, but Blueprint is also about to start. Last year, Blueprint was with us the whole school year. They also pulled small groups in math, and that was actually really beneficial because we had more adults who were able to make the groups even smaller when we divided up the children. Students from Catholic University they come to read with the students. That's also targeted intervention because everyone does not get to go to the Catholic University students. We choose actually who goes with them. Typically, it's our students who are performing above grade level or higher, but one of my assistant principals is over the program and she chooses which students go where. I talked about grade level content. I always talk about grade level content. We have to expose our kids to grade level content in order for them to read on grade level, like the end. Routine assessments as well. So we have benchmarks, we have exit tickets, we have cool downs. Well, cool down is an exit ticket that we give students to figure out where they are in time and space. For instance, right now in the math department, we're working on grading all of our exit tickets to make sure that we are informed for what to teach the next day. And so we believe that if students are constantly being assessed, and not over an overkill, but if students are routinely being assessed and we're able to see and track their progress, we should know in the winter time how students will do because we track their progress over the school year. Our tennis work coaches are on the ground 3 days a week in classrooms, pulling small groups, basically right there with us, trying to figure out 6th grade, for example. But yeah, so they have each teacher has a tennis work coach that they meet with once a week. And also the tennis work coaches are starting to pull small groups to get ready for CAPE. CAPE is our standardized assessment we take at the very end of the school year. It used to be PARC, but now it's called CAPE. And then we have a new resource room for pre-K and K. So this school year, and Alexandra talked about the needs of students who are at risk schools. And this school year, we have a significant need in pre-K, students coming to us with autism, students coming to us with different disabilities. And right now they don't have IEPs because they're so young, but some of them do have dedicated aides, and some of them came to us with a dedicated aide. So we had, once again, a lot of adults in pre-K. What we did was we created another classroom, a resource room for those students to go to, where they are literally, we're just meeting the needs of those students, no distractions from the other kids in the classroom. It's literally a resource room just for pre-K and K, just for those students with high needs. We were actually shocked this school year when we found out we had so many students with high needs in pre-K and K, but starting actually Monday, students will be, well, when we get back, students will be in the resource room full, not full time. They have a schedule where they're in and out the resource room. Portia, you can go to the next slide. So strong adult culture. We believe this is so important to us, whether or not the adults are happy in the building. We're not going to please everyone. Some people may come unhappy before they get to the school building. But what our goal is that we want teachers to come in and feel comfortable and happy when they get here. We know that the work is hard. They're not going to be happy all the time, but whatever the leadership team can do to make sure that people are happy. And I say happy because people, you have to be happy. Teachers teach well, so in order to do this, we're having monthly staff appreciation events. We're also having weekly shout outs, recognitions. We give teachers recognitions for different things. At the end of the month, they can cash out their recognition for tokens that they can then use for like Amazon gift cards or whatever they spend and choose their, whatever they choose to spend their tokens on. We do walkthroughs every single week into every single class and give out recognitions to teachers who are on their A game, who are doing their best. And that's coming from the whole leadership team. So that's every single week. We're in those classrooms. Wellness Wednesday, we brought back this school year. We have different dates on the calendar that teachers already know about, designated to Wellness Wednesdays, where at Wednesdays at 1:30, the staff, they're able to leave and take care of whatever they need to take care of instead of going to PD. They're spread out throughout the school year, so it's not like every Wednesday, but we do have a Wellness Wednesday at least once a month moving forward. Staff feedback form and surveys. So we have a staff feedback form that teachers fill out all the time, actually. And when they do fill it out, we take that feedback to the leadership team meeting and we figure out like what we can do to accommodate the feedback or what we can do to make sure that teachers know we heard them and teachers know that we're taking action on some of their concerns. At social emotional learning classes for students, where students are learning to be like I keep using the word regulated because a lot of times at-risk schools, students are dysregulated and they have a hard time, say for instance, accepting no, accepting, not a punishment, but a redirection that may like set them off. So we're working right now to model for students and to teach students how to be self-regulated and how to um, not have self-control, but how to control their emotions so that they don't, fly off the handle. Structured recess with Hoop Ed has been a lifesaver. Students, the boys specifically, some of the girls, when they're outside, they are playing with the coach. The coach is leading the game. The coach is making sure that they are being uh, positive teammates, good team players. And what that did, it eliminated a lot of different issues at recess. Of course, 3 to 5 boys, they're going to fight over whatever sport they're playing, but when they have structured recess, they are able to manage their behavior and they're able to work with the coach. Why we brought the coaches is we found that students were at basketball, playing basketball or football, and they were getting like little scuffles because there was no structure for the game. So we brought structure to the game. It has made a world of difference, especially now that we have our new backyard with the patio, with the basketball court, and then the play area. We found that Recess is actually going way better than before we had Who Bad. Leadership lunch bunches. So the assistant principals are meeting with different students. Once again, the assistant principals are picking these students based off the need, based off of what students bring to the table. We're putting them in different lunch bunches, once again, to do that social emotional learning and getting students talking about like teamwork and keeping your hands to yourself. And what do I do when the teacher tells me I have to, gives me a timeout, or what do I do when I hear information or when I receive feedback that I don't like? Like we're teaching students like, how do you deal with that? And what is your response to feedback you don't like? Of course, you can go to the next slide. And then building community with families and caretakers. We are constantly trying to figure out how to bring families into the building and what we can do to get them to stay in this building. So we have a monthly parent chat and chew where parents, all the parents are allowed to come. We serve breakfast, we go around the table. The last chat and chew was so much fun because parents went around to talk about all the things they liked about Perry Street and why their kids come here. So that was like really inspirational to hear that parents are being served and that they're satisfied. And of course, like I said, every parent is not going to be satisfied, but our goal is to get as many parents as possible on our team and on board. We had a fall festival, which was the day of Halloween, which was a hit. I Miss Trunchbull, if you can see in the picture from Matilda. Parent teacher conferences we just had, which were an opportunity for parents to come in again, to talk about their students, to walk around the building, to get just an update on where their child is academically and emotionally. Class Dojo, we used to, and School Messenger, we used to give messages out to families. We try to keep them aware of everything, keep them abreast of everything going on. The more information they have, the better. We're starting to send out a PSP family newsletter. And then Spirit Week is something that Perry Street enjoys very much so. So the kids are were super excited about Spirit Week, and just that camaraderie and just the fun we had that week is always a plus. We're starting a parent recruitment group. One of the things we're trying to work on is getting more students from Ward 5. So we are in the process of starting a parent recruitment group to figure out how we can get to those doorbells and how we can get to those cars to figure out where the students in Ward 5 are and can they come to Perry Street Prep. And then our open houses and tours for new families, that is on demand. Parents can come on Thursdays and they can get a tour, they can ask questions, anything they need to feel comfortable with Perry Street, they can have on those tours on those dates.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. It's all the
Thank you,
fun
guys.
time, operations and finance. Okay, so one thing that I'm learning being new from Boston, coming to Washington, DC, Aussie and PCSB like to be in the know. So I am constantly getting requests to send data, but right now, to date, we are currently fully compliant with both PCSB and the and Aussie. We have also submitted our annual report and all of the other compliance requirements. Right now, we are in progress with our year-end data validation for at the student level for the charter and state accountability reports. So right now, I'm working closely with Carla on just looking at those numbers and those metrics to make sure that we're on point with when we need to report and hit those deadlines. Okay, so right now, currently, we have had in our OST team, we've had a couple of changes in programming. We're looking to go in a new direction in terms of providing out of school time programming to students and families. So right now we're actually really excited that we're hoping to partner with Innovation Learning, and they will come in and replace our Mommies partnership. So Mommies currently serves about approximately 75 students from K to 8. And right now we are hoping beginning January 1st to bring in Innovation Learning, and they're going to run their programming for those students. And in their program, they're going to provide social emotional learning. They're going to provide academics, physical needs. They'll go outside and teach them kind of like hoop ed, but it has a little different swing on it. They'll provide that type of programming to our students. And as you can see, the cost for that is approximately, it's $30,000 is what it will be to cover those grades from January 1st to June 30th. Additionally, we're trying to make sure that we are replacing all of our cameras as we can over time. Just some of the cameras that we have are just a little outdated, so it's a little hard to access and kind of like monitor the footage. So we're trying to install a couple of cameras at a time. And so we have Smooth Networks, which is a partner who installed our current cameras that we had installed in the summer. So we're hoping to continue to partner with them so that they're able to provide, replace the remaining cameras over time. So that would hopefully start January 1st. And that cost could range anywhere between $30,000 to $60,000 because it depends on the amount of cameras that we're going to install at what time. So we're still looking into that. We're kind of just monitoring and making sure we replace the ones that serve the highest parts of the school, the most traffic areas, high traffic areas. So those are two contracts that we're hoping to get approved right now.
And if I can, just as a reminder, the board approves contracts over 25K. Both of these contracts were publicly bid and met the procurement requirements for the charter board. And so the ask here is for the board to approve both of these contracts so that Portia and Perry Street Prep can enter into contracts with both providers and begin these services. Any questions about either contract or the need for these services?
How many OST bids were submitted?
Oh, that's a great question. There were about 5 in total. One being one of our current providers, so we'll say 4 new providers.
Okay.
Portia, can you just talk about the process of how you narrowed it down to this?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what Miss Sloan, who is the director of our out of school time programming, when we received the RFPs, we sat in meetings for a long time, it felt like, and we actually looked at the types of programming that they offer. We looked at, you know, if they'll be able to come into our building and actually like run the programming and make sure that it's actually like going to serve the students in the way that we were looking for. So for example, one of the providers came in and they were just saying like, you know, we were going to run the program, but we're not going to be able to serve all your students. So there were components like that we had to just do process of elimination for. We also went and did site visits. So that was like that was a major determining factor in our finalization and like how we narrowed it down to the last 3. So Miss Sloan went out to check, I'm not sure if anybody is aware of Champions. Champions was a program, it looks to be really popular in a lot of other charter schools in the surrounding areas. And then Innovation Learning we went to go see. And then there was another program that like had a lot of bells and whistles that we went to go see, but we just were not excited about it at all. And then also cost, right? A lot of these companies weren't able to kind of work with us, knowing that we serve a really high population of at-risk students and, you know, families from low income backgrounds. So we're not able to kind of dish out the money that they were looking for. One of the contracts was like $120,000 for just January to June. So that was another, you know, really, really important aspect that we highlighted. But Innovation Learning just really like when we went to go see it, it was not just their proposal that was submitted to us, but it was when we went to go see it, we went to 2 different sites. And so one of them was a scheduled visit and one of them was a pop-up, right? Because if you schedule the visit, then they're just going to be like, yeah, let's be on our, you know, P's and Q's. But we went to a pop-up and everything was running the same thing. Like it was very structured. They had a schedule from start to finish that they followed. They provided the students with a healthy snack. And it was just like the feeling that we got from it was really, 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 it made us really excited. Additionally, this partner, they're willing to help us get licensed. So, which is something that other providers were not willing to do. So we've been trying, when I say we, I mean, Kelly before me, we've been trying to be licensed because that will allow for us to take vouchers from families so that Perry Street does not have to foot the bill for the after school programming. So that was like, I think I would say that was like one of the top highlights of this company is that they came in, they did a walkthrough, and they're just willing to help us get licensed so that in future years, we're able to allocate this money to other programming and kind of expand the program for all the families. Because I think this is really one of the most important, other than academics, which is really important, but families really do look at what the out of school time programming is because a lot of them work and a lot of them need that. So that's how we narrowed it down.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions? Okay. So I can move on to the next slide, or do we have to?
We have to vote. So, is there a motion to approve Innovation Learning out of school time and Smooth Networks as two contract providers for Perry Street Prep at the values listed in the slide, 30,000 for innovation and between 30 and 60,000 for Smooth Networks?
So moved.
I move that we approve both.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And I am going to have to do a roll call vote for this one. So, Hassan,
Yes.
thank you. Brandon,
Yes.
thank you. Kelly, I have you as seconded. Is that correct?
Correct.
Perfect. Sean,
Yes.
thank you. Aisha.
Yes.
All right, and I think I've got everybody, and Andrew, I've got you as making the motion. So thank you all. So Portia will move forward with issuing those contracts and going through the procurement process with PCSB for those two vendors. And Perry Street will end its relationship with Mommy's, the current OST provider, on December 30th.
Just a quick question about Smooth Networks, and I apologize. So, based on their contract cost, well, it's two-parter. How
Mhm.
many other bids were submitted for the security and equipment? And what was Smooth Networks line item for, if there was a different vendor, the cost of removing the existing security systems, et cetera, and the replacement of something different?
That's a great question. So to be honest, we only had two other submissions and the proposals were like astronomically high. They were way over this. So one of them was for $120,000 to be able to provide services to us. And the other one came in underneath at like 90. And then I would have to get back to you on the line item. If I can find it, pull it up right now for Smooth Networks. Our last invoice from them was about $20,000. And Rachel, how many cameras did you guys get installed in the summer? Was it
11.
It was 11, yeah. So that's approximately their cost, and that includes the rewiring if necessary. That includes removing the old equipment, disposing of the old equipment, making sure that things work, and actually procurement of the items. So they also provide us with the cameras, which other companies did not do.
And the remote monitoring. So the ability to monitor security footage for the school when you yourselves are not in the building. How many people have access to that remote?
Just the leadership team right now. So myself, Rachel, and the assistant principals.
Okay. Thank you.
I think, Brandon, one thing that's just helpful of context is the school actually has been working with Smooth Networks for several years. It's just that this would be the first time that the cost would exceed 25K, which is why it would need to be publicly bid. So one of the advantages here is this is a vendor that the school's been using and has been setting up these systems for the school in prior years.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. All right, so fun times. We have our Middle States accreditation coming up, the 7-year renewal of the current accreditation, which is exciting. So as you all may know, all charter schools in DC are required to be accredited by an approved agency. So Middle States is that agency. So we're actually beginning the process, initiating it now. Our first meeting was held on November 13th. I had a fun meeting on my birthday, but we were able to sit as a group, and it was a really, really, really successful meeting. We set goals and the objectives for the upcoming meetings. And we feel really good about where we're gonna head in the future. So that's one thing that we're currently looking forward to. And then My School DC, this is something, again, me being from Boston, this is very new to me because Boston, we don't have fun things like this. So as the vendor, I'm set up, I'm getting all the emails and it's a really big deal. There's tables and certain things you can bring, but EdFest is really going to be another opportunity for us to bring some families into Perry Street. So we have obviously myself and my operational team will be there to support, but we're also going to, we have teachers that are really excited to also volunteer. So we're going to be, Perry Street's going to be very deep in My School, the EdFest. So we'll have a table. We have some brochures that we're going to provide. We're going to have swag, but most importantly, we're just going to be ourselves and we're just going to make sure that people understand how great Perry Street is. So that's another exciting upcoming event for us. All right, Finance Committee. So the Finance Committee held our first meeting this month, not on my birthday, but very close. But so just to give you like some updates, the FY22 FAR was finalized, and it's also in the board materials. And we are actually just really, we're hitting our financial goals, which is really good. The FY24 audit is underway. So we're working on providing documentations for that. Another fun thing that I get to learn about when I'm here. So right now, as we mentioned earlier, we budgeted for 460 students. We have about 430, I'll say it's 437 was the number that was reported to OSSI, but we just received 2 new friends for those of you who weren't on the call earlier. So we received 2 new friends in pre-K and 2nd grade. So while it did not hit our budget goal, it's still, it's great that we're getting new friends in the building. So we did have a budget contingency of about 12 students. However, it still was not enough to offset the shortfall of us not hitting the 460 target. Although we do have some increases in special education populations, as we discussed earlier. So some of that funding is going to be able to offset the variances. Although, albeit they do require some additional expenses. And as Alexandra mentioned earlier, you know, some of the students that are in these populations, while we do get some extra funding for them, it's not nearly enough to be able to serve them in the manner in which we need to serve them. So also we did, as we mentioned earlier, have an increase in at-risk students. Right now it exceeds 70% of the population, which is going to make us eligible for additional at-risk funding. And then our net income remains positive, which is really great. So we had 768,000 in the budget and 219,000 forecasted to be remaining. Another thing we mentioned in the Finance Committee meeting is that we received the high impact tutoring grant. So that was it was unbudgeted because it was not expected. And it was $206,000. So that's something that we're going to be able to fund the Blueprint tutors with and provide some additional supports to those students that need it the most. All right.
Portia, let's just go back to finance and see if there's any questions or anything somebody wants to dig in deeper into here.
Sure. Any questions, everybody?
I think just for we discussed this in the committee, I think we're gonna expect an October financial update by the end of November. So that will give us a clearer picture of where the school's finances are and how they're tracking. But right now, even with the budgeted enrollment shortfall, the school is still having a positive net income, which is a key metric for the charter board, and the school's just overall positive cash flow.
Questions?
Thanks, Alexandra.
All right.
I know Sydney's not able to join us for governance committee, so I think we might just move on unless there was anything anybody wanted to add for governance with Sydney's absence.
I think we're good.
All right.
We can report out if anything changes and report it out to the group.
Perfect. And Rachel, I don't know if you had a chance to have an academics committee with Sean yet, so that might be forthcoming.
Forthcoming.
Great.
All right. All right. Does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to add about anything that we talked about or reviewed today?
I have a question, and forgive me because some of this may be a little ignorance of me not knowing the process. But when we talk about at-risk students and the influx of students coming in with IEPs who need dedicated aides, I know that the budget had not initially supported that, but how do you guys navigate through that when the applications come in if those students aren't, necessarily neighborhood students? I know you don't necessarily want to say no, but is there like a we can't support this right now, or or do we just take them all and try to work around making sure we provide the, I guess, assistance that they need? And I'm just asking because I don't know the process.
So I can respond to that. So DC is on like a lottery system. We actually don't get to turn away kids or pick our kids. So they
Okay.
go into the lottery. They apply for Perry Street. If they get matched with Perry Street, they automatically have a seat at Perry Street as long as we have those open seats. So students basically is the come as you are situation where they come as they are. We figure out what their needs are, and then we try to accommodate them the best we can. Well, we have to accommodate them, period. Um, so that's why we were saying how like it fluctuates. Before COVID, we didn't have that many at-risk students as we do now, which has become like a strain a little bit, but we're handling it. We have the adults in place. And also, one thing before COVID, we didn't have as many at-risk kids. We had super strong teachers. We're getting to a place now after COVID, I think we recovered and we do have super strong teachers in place. So it's easier to meet the needs of students when the teachers are all very talented. So that's one place where we are looking up this school year. But no, to answer your question, we don't get to say, no, we can't accommodate you. You have to go somewhere else. We literally take everyone and figure out how we can accommodate them.
Okay.
And that's for every charter school in DC. It's not specific to Perry Street.
And then
I mean,
from,
I can only imagine how challenging that is when you're trying to, you know, get those high performing students, but your seats are taken up by, you know,
hmm
those
And
who need
so,
extra
yeah,
help.
that's literally one of our biggest challenges. And I talked about that earlier, just receiving kids on so many different grade levels, and then wanting to build a program that is attractive to families who, you know, it's hard because you want to build a program that's attractive to families, but you also want to meet the needs of students who wouldn't get their needs met otherwise, but they were at a different school. I know you all can't see my shirt, but it says every child. So what that means is that we are going to accept every single child and meet the needs of all the children the best we can because we believe that every child deserves a free, fair, appropriate education. And Perry Street does that. And so I hope that we would be an example for a school that is accepting all the kids. And also, like, for instance, our special education program is pretty good. We grow students super fast in our SPED program. So a parent who has a student with a disability, they're going to find Perry Street more attractive because of our success rate with students with disabilities. And so it is, you're right. We go back and forth between how do we make our school attractive to all families? And how do we meet the needs of these students who have significant needs, you know? So we talk about it all the time, go back and forth about it. We haven't landed on anything yet, but that is definitely at the top of our heads, and we talk about it all the time.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the insight.
Of course.
any other questions? Oh,
There's not any other questions we can entertain, Hassan, unless there's anything else on your part, a motion to adjourn.
Sorry, having a hard time getting off mute. Um, no, I don't have any other questions or anything else. So, do we? I guess I'm setting the motion. to adjourn. Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? And any nays? All right, thank you all, and I will just get that down for the minutes. Thank you all, and I think our next board meeting is in January, and then we will have committee meetings in between. And feel free to let us know if there's anything else anybody wanted to connect on. Portia, you can go ahead and stop the recording.